Hello and welcome to News from the Streets, a podcast brought to you by SALVE International. SALVE stands for Support and Love via Education. We believe there should be no street called home, that no child should have to live or work on the streets to survive. We work in Uganda to support street-connected children and their families to have a brighter future. We believe every child has potential. We hope you enjoy this podcast and listening to some of the stories and solutions around homelessness. Please note that some of the content you may hear in this podcast could be distressing. Also, all of the young people and their family members who have chosen to take part in this podcast have consented to share these stories with you. However, they have also changed their names to help to ensure that they remain protected and anonymous.
Today I'll be interviewing someone. She will be telling us what it feels like or what it is being a girl on the streets. Please, our guest, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Thanks for this opportunity. My name is Nora. I am 15 years old and I'm going to tell you how life is on the street.
Okay, thank you, Nora. Why did you come to the streets?
I came on the street because I'd lost my mother and my stepmother was over mistreating me, so I had to find my life out of home. She could not give me food, over punish me by caning me seriously even when I've done nothing. She even poured on me hot water so that pushed me out of home.
That is so bad. Okay. Nora, how long were you on the streets for?
I was on the street for 2 years.
That is a long time for a girl. Okay. How did you make money and find shelter and food on the streets, Nora?
I used it fresh water, wash plates for people having small restaurants in town in order to earn some money to buy food. And I used to sleep under people's vehicles.
Oh. How was your relationship with other girls on the streets?
We used to cooperate with my fellow girls by moving together for safety, working together in order to earn some money to buy at least much food, or even care for one another when we are sick.
Nora, what were the challenges you faced while you're living on the streets?
There are very many problems you get from streets, especially gains from the police, sexual harassment from men who don't even live on the streets, big boys, coldness during nights, and it affects your health. Sometimes rain, that you are even left without shelter, and it's too hard to get food. At times, you even sleep when you're hungry.
So, like, what happened when it used to rain? Where did you used to sleep?
We could sleep under people's vehicles when it has rained. Sometimes when it rains heavily, you find way out, but life seemed to be so difficult.
Was there anything that you learned or enjoyed during your time on the streets?
Of course, life at the street is very difficult. Hence, I learned that being and living on the street is very bad.
So there was nothing you enjoyed
I did
during your
not
time on
enjoy
street?
anything because life is so difficult.
What was the community's perception on the girls who live on the streets?
The community looks at the girls who live on the streets as people of bad luck and unfortunate in life, criminals, sport, and others call them prostitutes.
Oh, so do you think that all that they think about them?
No, that the community just thinks like that, but not all of them that are criminals. They are they have bad luck or sport, but due to the challenges they face, that pushes them to leave their homes, but they are not what the community think about them.
Okay. What did you like the least about your time on the streets?
Men who used it to harass girls sexually. It was so flattening and scaring for me because you could be sleeping and a man comes to you. You don't have any help, so it was so scary.
Nora, what inspired you to leave the streets?
Life was very difficult, and I also loved to go back to school. So I got inspired by the students. I used it to see going to school and coming back from school. So when I got that opportunity from South, I was very happy and I couldn't look back.
What do you hope for your future now, Nora?
Since life has been so difficult, I hope to become a teacher in my future. And I'm reading very hard in order to make my dream come true.
How can others in the community best help and give support to the girls living on the streets?
Since the community looks at these people as of bad luck, they can advise them to leave the streets and go back to their homes, and also give them some money, food, and shelter while still at the streets.
How can we create no street called home where no child ever has to live on the streets?
We can do this by educating our parents through radios, televisions, about the purposes of educating children, especially the girl child. The government should also set up or put up strict laws against child abuse in the community because most parents don't even have time for their children. Hence, children just go on the street in order to find good life. And also advising and counseling the children in the community about being well behaved because children are left freely. Most parents are busy with work, so they don't have time to advise or guide their children.
Oh, thank you very much, Nora, and thank you for sharing with us that information. I hope someone or all of us have learned something from this. This comes to the end of our short interview, and I believe we can all create no street called home. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, News from the Streets. We really hope that you enjoyed it. If this podcast has inspired you to want to learn more and to get involved in our global community of people who believe, as we do, that there should be no street called home for children living and working on the streets and that they deserve a brighter future, then please check out our website, www.salvinternational.org. We would love to hear from you and for you to get involved.